Really need a theme tune for this show. If anybody knows any musicians, get them to message us via the newestablishment.co.uk. This is Disorderly Conduct. Guys, say hello. Everybody that's come back to us. Hi guys, thanks for coming back.
Hi everyone.
Again, we're at the lazy folks.
I'm feeling lazy.
It's Newman, Daly, and Carleen. Yes, and myself, your happy host, CJ Rock. Happy in spite of our previous conversation that we talked about things that apparently people aren't allowed to talk about, and quickly discovered people are allowed to talk about them so much the Daily Mail removed the comments page. Concerned with the story, we are not taking any more comments on this story. I hadn't seen any. I believe it was quite bad. I think I'll try and get the HuffPost up because I think they saved a couple of the stories for us, so I'll try and get it up so we can peruse some of these classy comments from its listeners. Now, we're not going to stay too long on this story, but Clarkson, apparently the nation's favourite presenter and possibly a future UKIP candidate if they get their way. I'm sure they'd love to get him. But anyway, he was suspended last week due to apparently he struck one of his colleagues,
or his boss, essentially,
all over a piece of meat that he couldn't get because it wasn't there. And I've seen a lot of those shows. I've seen those guys eat stuff that isn't tasty at all in the middle of the night. So I don't know why on this occasion he felt the need to react like that. But basically the BBC is under a lot of pressure to sack him, but they're also under even more pressure not to sack him. They cancelled the last 3 episodes of Top Gear. He's under suspension and investigation. There are campaigns, I think they've reached 90,000 signatures to keep him on it. People are going a bit mad.
I just can't work out who actually cares about him that much to keep him on. He doesn't sound like a very nice guy, to be honest.
No, it's not even that, because if it's the people that religious, like I remember when I was in high school, it was the one thing, even if you weren't one of the football lads, you still watched Top Gear. It's one of those things that are unanimous amongst all blokes, and it's if you remove Clarkson, you remove Top Gear, and it's just that thing. It's like lad is fun with a dickhead in charge of it.
Yeah, but if the guy's flailing a bit in his career, I think it's good just to let him go. Let's get someone new in.
He doesn't care. He's like sitting on top of
so why is he still here?
Because it's his hobby. It's what he does during his days. He just doesn't. He has nothing else, and he just throws his weight about because he thinks he can. And now he hopefully might see some
come my only joy in all of this is seeing someone put up the meme saying, "Have a Snickers," because that would have just resolved that situation. That's how much I guess people do actually care. I think it's more that they don't want change from what they're used to seeing in Top Gear. But I don't think that the show would lose its appeal if we just
time for him to
get rid of him.
I'm sure there's other people who want a job who could do that. I don't think he's not bigger than the show. He's had way too many chances. Paying a license fee for that particular individual I find disgusting, and I hope he goes as soon as possible.
I'm pretty sure he owns part of the rights to the show, though. If they kick him, there's nowhere to put the show.
It's probably some kind of executive producer.
Well, I think he might even accept it. I think there's been a few comments saying that he's actually in a bit of a self-destruct mode, and he needs help, and that may be it. His head got so big that he's lost any sort of self-proportion of who he is and where he is. Because I'm not being bad, who hits somebody over a piece of meat? I mean, seriously, who does that? Do you know what I mean? Somebody you're working with, where's me meat, boy? Pow! There's a lot of things to be angry about in this world.
Remember that Korean, was it Korean woman, South Korean, who basically turned the plane around over some peanuts? You get some nutty egomaniac, what's the word? Megalomaniac. That's the word. So I think, it's like ego's gone to their head, and they've had too much power for too long, got away with so much, and they thought they could do it again and again and again. And
maybe this dude was just too hungry. Maybe that's the breaking point. One time I tried to steal a potato off a lad. He was not happy. You always hear the argument about chips. You steal a chip off someone, oh, you're not anyone's friend. So maybe that was it for him.
Last straw.
Last straw. I'm hungry.
Well, like you said, it should have been like Clarkson, have a Snickers. There you go, lad. He's seen the adverts, would have sorted it out, no problem. But no, you had to go and assault somebody. That's just a bit disappointing. But yeah, there's been a lot of campaigns. A lot of people have a lot to say about it. I personally don't care. I've stopped watching Top Gear, not because I don't enjoy it anymore, but it just seems to be the same thing every episode. And in fact, the only bit of Top Gear I watch is the celebrities on the car bits when they're racing. That's the only bit I actually watch anymore.
Every now and again I'd catch that episode where they just do like cross country the desert or something like that. That's the only interesting thing, because they customise their car for it, and that's the only interesting bit about it, because then they may get stranded in the desert. They won't, but you may do.
I'll always remember Oliver, the little car that he got when he went across the Sahara Desert. I think they went across, but or was it the Gobi? I can't remember. But it's just weird. It's like, it's almost surreal. You're like, that poor guy hit must have been like, did he just hit me over a piece of meat? Do you know what I mean? Did he actually strike me? But on a more serious note, if we can, in a normal working environment, if that happened, surely you'd get the sack, wouldn't you? Or would it be like, so why is he any different in that sense?
No, that's the thing. I'm for him getting the sack.
Yeah, but what? Even if he got the sack, and this is the thing that gets me the most, right? If he got sacked, I guarantee you he'll be working on Sky TV or ITV the next week.
Definitely.
And that's sort of the hypocrisy. If that was a guy that hit a female presenter, right? Because it was a guy that hit a guy, everybody's like, the channels will probably ping. If he had hit a woman presenter or a female colleague or a kid or whatever, they wouldn't touch him with a barge pole, because everybody's like, it's kind of funny, ha ha ha. It's like, Clarkson, forgive him, it's all done. He hit someone that didn't deserve to be hit. It wasn't a guy's fault the kitchen had closed. And what makes it worse is he's got the meat in the end. The assistant manager came down and cooked it for him.
Oh, goodness sake.
So it's kind of like,
I didn't even know that bit. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. But talking about the rage from this, I finally got some of the comments up from the Daily Mail page, which HuffPost kindly saved for us. And this is the first one. I'll read it for you, just so you get a flavour of what people were saying. It's ridiculous that you can't even talk about immigration without... I'm doing it in a really bad accent. I'll do it in my normal voice. I was just trying to give it some flavour. But I don't want to... Yeah, anyway. So it's ridiculous that you can't even talk about immigration without someone yelling racist. I've now reinterpreted the word racist as, I don't want to talk about it because I've been brainwashed. So far for me, it's never... So for me, it's not even a slur anymore. That was that was Smith from Neverland. I kid you not. Let's get another one up. Here we go. Right, all right. PC is nothing to do with race. It's about control, as is terrorism. VB from Hereford. UKIP. It's the only answer.
Okay.
Right, here we go. Political correctness is a cancer in our society. It has destroyed our right to free speech. It has destroyed humour, and above all, it has destroyed our culture and identity. Even our politicians are not free to express themselves anymore, victims of their own arrogance. They have surrendered our country to the control of the EU and are more concerned with the welfare of foreigners and immigrants than their own people. They dare not act to control immigration because of our sheer numbers already here, so they pander to them and order us to tolerate the intolerable because of their incompetence. That's the Defont PC looking for England. That's his name, I kid you not. Another one. I've always spoken my mind on immigration and multiculturalism, and I've never been afraid of being branded a racist simply because I'm not a racist. Just speak your mind and be prepared to change it as facts arise. There's no point in having a mind if you don't change it. These comments don't sound bad. It's like, okay. Funny how everybody is now claiming to be the person to have first raised this scandal. The BNP were the first to raise it in 2006, but were ruthlessly pursued through the High Court by Trevor's gang for daring to say Asian gangs. Well done, Trevor, who was also very well paid, and the abuse went on and on. I don't get what that means.
Yeah, no, that confused me.
Totally off. Wait.
It's the Daily Mail.
It ended up somewhere else.
It done a loop-de-loop.
A loop-de-loop.
Loop-de-loop.
Al Garnett for PM. See, this is what I mean. Alf Garnett's not real. Morons. It's too much. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
let's back away from.
we'll back away from them.
Stupid
But
man.
okay, moving on to another story. This could be quite serious, but it ties into what we've been talking about. It's about education, and apparently a Danish sexologist, bold new theory, show porn at school. Better than boring sex education, says parents. Teachers should explore sexuality in a safe way.
Yeah, but I'm sort of for that, but not in the way he's proposing. But I like the idea that he's saying, look, this isn't what sex is. So if you do find this, do be prepared to be disappointed. It's not that crazy.
I haven't read the article fully. I'll put my hands up. But if you take it, if you take it as is, right? If you, especially in UK schools, right? If they show porn in UK schools, they're not going to sit there and go, "Yeah, that's not what sex is like." They'll be like, it'll either do one of two things: it'll either put them off sex for life, right, or it'll send them absolutely crazy, right?
I think at the moment the whole
Sex
is being very misunderstood in all different ways. We're only talking about in the show beforehand with regards to like rape and stuff. So in a lot of these porns, I don't ever see, it's not putting, say, like a woman in a higher position or, in a position that is making her, I don't know, respectable. It's kind of...
They got these porn, they never show them at the sex clinic, whatever. It doesn't, they do that, do the test and see how it gives them the results.
I think like, they should just continue showing babies being born, so they're not going
Definitely.
to sex
Do you know what? When I was young, my sister did and still does sex education with young people. And she had a book called The A to Z of Sexual Diseases. And I think every kid should be given a copy of The A to Z of Sexual Diseases, because my God.
It's like Mean Girls. If you have sex, you will die.
That made me cover up my little boy. That's covered up. That's not, let alone getting a girl pregnant. It's the shit you can catch. That's enough. There was, I covered it up. Never, I don't want to wear a condom. It's really uncomfortable. Yeah, so's your balls turning blue and growing to the size of pineapples. I'm just, that's uncomfortable. I remember when I was younger, if they approach it from the sexual disease aspect, I think kids would have a better attitude towards sex. Because I'd have boys coming up to me in school. I don't know why. They'd come to me for advice even before I'd actually had sex. But they'd come up to me and go, "Curtis, mate." Back then I was Curtis, now I'm CJ Rock. I grew up. But they were like, "Curtis, mate, CJ, I don't know what to do. I'm pissing blood." And honestly, they would sincerely say that to me, and I'd be like, "Okay, if you bleed anywhere else from your body, what would you do? Go and see a doctor. Sort this out." I was educating people about sex better than their schools and colleges were, than their parents were. It's very straightforward. If you don't want your girlfriend pregnant and you don't want to catch a sexual disease, cover it up. If you want a girl to come back for more, learn to be good at it. If you want respect from a woman, be nice to her. It might actually work. And I don't know. I don't know if porn's necessarily the answer.
Is, I guess with porn, we're not showing people how to have sex. All that fun's meant to be for later. And it's just, it's all about, safe sex and things like that, that level. I don't think really encouraging young school kids. Because I do think it will encourage them, because they'll be like, well, I saw her doing all the moves. I'm going to try that. Before you know it, people are snapping fins, bending fins the way they should.
Breaking their back and ribs.
I think you young people will have sex whenever they want to have it, generally. There's nothing anybody can do about it. Once those hormones, once those drums... Do you ever watch Doctor Who?
Yes.
Do you remember that episode with the master and he's going about, can you hear the drums?
Yeah.
Right, that's what puberty's like, okay? The second you hit puberty, all that's happening is your body's going... I remember the day that I hit puberty, right? I was sat in school, I was sat next to a girl that I didn't like her, most of the time I knew her. All of a sudden, my pants were too tight. Right, and I was like, what on earth is going on? I had no idea. Nobody told me this was going to happen, right? And obviously, well endowed boy. But that's not the main point here. It was just a bit of a shocking moment, right? And from that moment on, your body's just going, I'm ready. Now that happens for most young people around 12 years old, right? And we literally tell people whose bodies are already going, I'm ready to have sex, right? Your body's preparing you for it. You got to wait 4 years, right? You say that to young people, and then, even then, they still usually have to wait younger, because no matter what young people say, most of them don't have sex until they're at least in their late teens or 20s. Although they may have changed, because I know young people are a bit more friskier these days than ever before. But surely it's in our interest to educate them. Most Scandinavian, this was a Danish sexologist, but most Scandinavian people I meet, Swedish, Danish, wherever, they seem to be a lot more comfortable with themselves, and they seem to have a lot more of a healthier, better attitude towards sex. You know, if you have sex, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't go well, or you don't like the guy. You just don't have to see him again, or just don't have sex with him again. It doesn't become sort of an emotional burden. Do you know what I mean? Like the virginity. Do you know what I mean? The virginity is still such an important thing to people over here, but it really isn't. You know, it's a moment before you have sex. You know, it doesn't change much. And people, it's such a big issue, and I think we need to help young people. We need to tell young people that actually you don't need to burden yourself with trying to find the perfect guy when you first have sex, because it's a smelly, nasty business. It's smelly, it's dirty, it's not nothing like porn movies, and you know, we need to give young people better tools. And I'm not saying show them porn, but please stop showing them pictures and videos of rabbits. Do you know what I mean? It's just, don't do that to young people anymore. Give them more information and they'll make better decisions, surely. Am I wrong?
No, that's pretty good.
Am I wrong? That's just my stance on it. I just remember...
Sex education, I think I moved school. I'm trying to remember.
I think what's most important with it is just, like you just saying there, just this whole virginity thing. It is getting a bit too, yeah, I guess it's meant to be special at the same time, but, you know, as long as I guess you're able to respect yourself and, you know, not be used by people, because I think that is kind of the sad thing. You might wait for someone and the person might be a complete douche, but you waited all that time.
Wouldn't it be even better? It wouldn't even be better to let people, educate people enough to know when they're being used. So young men and women are more confident, so if somebody's not giving them what they want, they're not sitting around waiting for it to come along, like that elusive female orgasm. They're not waiting for that to appear or find that G-spot, you know, or for the guy to wake up, you know, stop falling asleep, you know, after sex or whatever. That women are actually a bit more confident in getting what they want and what they need, as opposed to falling into these traps, these emotional traps that can ruin a person's life. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, it just confuses me. You know, every now and again you get that person's, I'm waiting for the right person. Do you know, there used to be that woman who appeared on TV. She was in her late 40s and she was waiting. She was still a virgin.
I remember that.
Yeah, she was waiting for the right guy, and I was like, you ain't gonna, if you're looking for a man over 30 who's one, a virgin, and two, the right guy, you done missed out. Okay, you know, it just confuses me. It sends out the wrong message to young people. Sex is a natural thing to do. It's actually the thing more than anything that has gotten the human race from where it was to where it is now. So surely we need to start embracing it like the Scandinavians do a lot more. Sex education is compulsory. It's been compulsory since the 1970s. And like I said, most of the Scandinavian people I know are very keyed up about sexuality. They're very keyed up about what they enjoy, what they don't like, what they will do, what they won't do. And they're very stable people. They ain't running around going mad. Obviously there's still problems in Scandinavia, I'm sure. I'm absolutely certain, like anywhere, right? But surely the problem shouldn't be the information we're giving young people. I don't know, Carleen.
Oh, sorry.
How do you stand on it?
Well, sorry, I was just thinking about. Sorry, what was the question? Sorry, I went somewhere. Sex.
Do you think we don't give young people enough tools? Are we messing with young people's heads? Do you know what I mean? It's like, why is it so bad if a young girl doesn't want a boyfriend and just wants to have sex for a couple of years? Why is it so bad that
it's stigma, isn't it?
Is it still a stigma?
It's different for a girl, a guy and a girl. It's always different. As much as I want things to be equal, but it's sort of thing of evolution.
I was just thinking, I don't see a lot of people trying to protect, say, boys' virginities. If anything, I see boys when they lose their virginities, like, oh look, give it that back.
It's completely different.
There's a lot of hypocrisy and stupidity about. It's like the whole thing about guys. I remember I watched a Jerry Springer show. I've mentioned this story many a time, and if you listen to the show on a regular basis, you'll probably heard it. And this young girl, very pretty young girl, comes out onto stage, and she's like, yeah, I'm here to see my boyfriend. Oh, I think he's going to ask me to marry him. Okay. And Jerry's like, okay. And then the boyfriend comes out, and he's like, I can't marry you. And it's like, why? Because you're not a virgin. And guess who took her virginity?
Oh, goodness sake.
Yeah. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I took one look at the dude and I was like, dude, that is the best girl you're ever going to get. And she loves you and you've just done that to her. And it's like, he had that sentiment. It was really, there is a difference between men and women, but I don't think it's a real difference. I think it's that traditional view of women. I think it's the whole that young people having too much sex is a dangerous thing for society. I think it's that worry that people are going to go mad for sex, which I'm sure some people do and some people will, but it is after all just sex. It's literally fluids and
a little bit of
a little bit of this. Do you know that back in the 80s, one of the great big hits back in the 80s was a song called "We're Having a Gangbang"?
Come again?
It's called "We're Having a Gangbang." That was in the top 10. It was by a band called Black Velvet. They are the ones that sang "Aga do push pineapple, shake a tree." Aga do. Sorry, that was my rendition. Please don't bring out any copyright rules against me. But they were a big band during the 80s. They were played everywhere, and one of their big songs was "We're having a gangbang, we're having a ball, we're having a gangbang, giving our all. Would like to join us."
Wow.
You never heard that one?
I need to find that. That is genius. I love that.
Look it up on YouTube. They were in a film called Sue Bob and something too. I can't remember. It was filmed during the 80s about Thatcher's children, and it was just I don't get it. I don't get people's obsession with the obsession about sex and why people just don't get on with it more and get over it. I'm not saying young people should have sex, by the way. I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying that we treat young people very badly and we do a great disservice to them by not helping them more. We're going through a very difficult change physically, especially for girls and boys. 1 minute it's just a winky, next minute it is something else completely, and we do great disservice to young people as we do in many other areas.
I think the main thing is just to talk about safe sex. That's very important. I mean, when I worked in an HIV clinic for a bit, it's again education, understanding their bodies, and that goes through all the ages, because some people have sex later, some people might have been abused or whatever. So to talk about sex sensitively, about emotions, or if you can have sex without emotion, which a lot of guys can, you need to
no, that's a myth.
Okay. Right, it's again about protection. And I think what would be really good is that if they brought a baby and so to look after a child, and maybe people will stop having children when they can't look after them when they're still children. That would definitely help. Change the nappy, hear the kid crying, doing its crap. They
want to be having sex.
That will stop a lot of people. My
puking
God.
and shitting and burping and farting and puking some more. Yeah, no, I think that might be it might help. But seeing as the way girls are with dolls, it might just make it worse.
Yeah. someone might be, it smells so cute, we'll have one.
No, when they have no sleep, that will change a lot of things. And it'll mess up their makeup and their nails and all that.
But I don't think our mission should be in I don't know. You worked in a clinic, I don't know. I'm just working on the lines of putting them off of it. Like I said, kids are going to have sex no matter what we do. And it's all about giving them the best tools they could have to do things properly, especially when you're young. Because if you have freaky sex when you're young, that can mess you up forever. That can put you off things that you just terrify you for the rest of your life. And I think in that sense, sex is enjoyable, and let's not pretend it isn't. And that's why there's so many problems, because it is enjoyable. It absolutely depends on who you're with and what they're doing. But it is an enjoyable thing when done well, in nearly every case, including myself. And but I just like working on lines that maybe, we need to give them a few more tools. We need to make young people a bit more aware of what's going on, and what we're doing to them at the moment just isn't fair and is not right. Hearsay disorderly conduct. Right, moving on, ladies and gents. I was going to do junk foods, fuels, rising obesity among poor kids, but that's people have been going out for years, and quite honestly, it bores me to tears, because it's like, you know what? Eat healthy, man. Get some fresh food. Look after yourself, or you end up like me. I'm just saying. I went down the wrong route. I didn't eat mama's food. When your mother cooks you some food and puts it in front of you, you eat it. All right? That also applies to other situations, which we will not go into now. So, moving on, we'll hit our last subject, because again, guys, we've rolled on for almost half an hour. And now, again, this is a news headline. I don't put much pay in it, because it's sensationalist, and they always say more than it actually is. But it says here 140 Brit jihadis are revealed by ISIS spy. An alleged Syrian double agent has revealed the names of 140 Brits who joined ISIS. Now, obviously you had those 3 girls that ran away, and we talk about education and all the rest of it and things like that, and why. I think the last time we had a show we spoke about what's making young people go. You've had Russell Brand going on about how it's society. You've had people say Jihadi Johnny was because the security services terrified him by knowing his name when they came into his shop. I don't know how much of that is true. Have you seen the film Four Lions?
Yeah.
No.
Just see if you can catch it. It's sort of, I don't know if romanticizes it, but it sort of takes a view of these guys who end up being bombers.
Kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
Yeah, comedy.
And it just follows their path towards, martyrdom or jihadism or whatever it is. And I don't know I don't know what it was saying, but it intrigued me, and you did kind of feel sorry for them. Not because of what they did, but because they were idiots. And they did something stupid. And I don't know, is there something, how do you guys stand? Do you think there's a problem in society at the moment that's driving young Muslim kids to join ISIL? We've also got British soldiers joining the rebel forces in the Iraqi army, going there and fighting these guys as well. Britain's always had a tradition, in fact, of people going and fighting wars abroad. You had the Spanish Civil War.
George Orwell.
Yep, a lot of Brits went over there to fight during the Spanish Civil War. You had, I don't know, I think there were some Brits. I know you had lots of Aussies going to the Vietnam War. Australia was involved in that. I don't know if any Brits went over during that as well. You've had us getting involved in the Iraq War. You've had a history of British people going to fight sometimes other people's wars. In terms of the voluntary side of it, you've always had it. Is there any real difference? I know people may get offended by this, for which I apologise. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Is these kids going to ISIL the same thing, or ISIS, I don't know, the same thing as the guys who went to the Spanish Civil War? They see a cause, they connect with that cause, and they think nothing of going on over there and joining that cause. A lot of the guys like Orwell who did go and fight in the Spanish War were very disillusioned with it at the end of it. And is it maybe the same thing, or are we being overly, not on ISIL, but overly harsh on these young people who are doing it because they're connecting in the same way that people went and fought during the Spanish Civil War? Or are these people just a bunch of morons? I don't know. How do you guys stand on it?
I think it's more being very, very low and disillusioned, and just it's finding a cause that you feel like might mean something for your life and is bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And you attach to it. It's a cause greater than your own that might do good in the world through your eyes. and people are just going over to do it. And it's something that really needs to be educated upon, but it's also a thing we were talking about earlier. I'm not sure if it was during the podcast, but we were talking about people just making up conspiracies and being able to project that well, and it's just very much it's just people getting caught up in that and just removing themselves from their own reality and just going away and doing it.
I don't know. I find it quite interesting, and I'm intrigued about why any young person would go and do that. Because if anything I hear about ISIL is true, it's not a nice environment to be in, especially if you're a woman. You can't go anywhere on your own. If you're a woman and you get found out on the street on your own, you then have to go and get your husband, who will get 40 lashes.
Your husband will get 40 lashes.
Yeah, your husband will get 40 lashes. It's beheadings. You saw pictures of them throwing people off roofs last week. People are accused of being homosexuals.
They're destroying thousands of years of history, and it's just.
I guess I see they're going back to basics in a way.
Doing that I'm not sure if it was Chinese or Japanese, where they tried to create a new culture and they just destroyed and burnt and destroyed.
Yeah, it's Chinese.
I think that was Cambodia. It was Pol Pot. What Pol Pot did was he basically said, time starts with me. This is year zero. Killed all the teachers, all the doctors, anybody that represented the old system that wasn't created by him, and then started from there. And that's what he done. He wiped out time. The Chinese did the purge. The Russians did their own version of the purge. Whenever you've got a new system being set up, they always try and get rid of anything that associates with the old system as much as they can.
It's not a new system. They want to go back. They want the caliphate. I mean, I don't know. One part of me slightly kind of understands, because when I was younger, I was kind of looking for something, and I was you were kind of looking for, as you said, something bigger than yourself. And I kind of was looking for something kind of purer. If you look at, I don't know, it's just, I can partly understand you're looking for something which is better than the system that you live in at the moment. You feel disenfranchised, you feel annoyed and angry with the system.
That's the thing, any system you're in is always going to be imperfect.
Of course.
There's no perfect system.
Of course, but
it could be there. It's always going to be that.
Of course, but if you have like a religious background, you think there's something better. So so part of me is angry with what they're doing, but at the same time, the part of me can slightly understand. And again, we don't know what the backgrounds of their families. Maybe their families are very restricted, or I don't know. But
all lead down to unhappiness in your current life. That is it.
Yeah, I guess it's just they want something better for themselves.
I think they did do some research on a couple of guys that went over, and I don't know how true it is, but they found an obsession with porn, first and foremost, and also an obsession with conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And that is by no means, I'm not accusing anybody I know of going down that route, but it's very, I find interesting that, I've mentioned it before, the most searched thing in the Middle East is porn in the internet, especially Western porn, and the most thing they seem focused on is controlling sexual behaviour, the attacks on homosexuals, the need to have more children, to have more soldiers, to create a completely their old school society in this new world. This hatred of Western technology, even though they use it quite effectively. I just find the whole thing very, very confusing and very contradictory.
But it's also the martyrdom thing of the mistranslation that if they become a martyr, they'll get 70 virgins
or raisins.
Yeah, or raisins. But I never quite understood, what do the women get though? What do the women get? If a woman's a martyr, what does she get? Is that virgin men? I mean, what use is that? I don't know. It's just, I find it really peculiar.
Do you know what? It's one of those things with any religious books, not just the Quran, any religious books. They're so vague. You can put whatever you want in there to fit what you're looking for. And I think we spoke about it earlier, especially in reference to science. And you don't have to be that rigorous for it. You don't have to defend it in a way you'd have to defend anything else. You don't. It's not questioned in ways. It's like if it suits your opinion of the world, that's all that matters. And I think that's why there's this sort of it's something that appeals to people. There's a part inside everybody that wants that simple, pure life where you don't need to worry about anything. You don't need to question anything. You do as you're told, and you just get on with your life. And I think that it may be as simple as that. I think people are looking for complex reasons, but I think if they actually look at it, it's very quite simple why people are doing it. And whether or not we can stop young people from doing that or going it, I don't know. I feel sorry for the families involved, because it must be heartbreaking to a large degree to see that your kid's gone off to do something which you're like, you plonker, you had everything here, education, all these things. And what's very interesting is like even Bin Laden, right, grew up in the UK a lot of the time, very wealthy family, yep, playboy, used to drink, used to womanize, everything, and yet this is where he ended. And when they raided his house, they found porn. And it says, it says a lot about, they were looking for that, but actually what they found it was actually very disappointing in the end. And I think that a lot of these young people may find that, which leads me on to my final question. What if they decide they want to come back? There's been a lot of talk about stopping them from coming back, removing their passports, removing their citizenship. Is that something that you think would be good, or?
No. Well, I think it would need to be sort of taken in case by case, because if they're coming back, you need to make sure one, they're mentally healthy, so you need to monitor them for a bit in that case and just gauge how well they are there, because they could just be very violent and hatred towards their cause that they put their whole life towards. It just been crumbled down, or they had to leave it for some reason. So I think I don't have any answer for that, but that's just one sort of thing I can go down, I would say.
I was just thinking, obviously they seem against the system, the whole thing's a fight against oppression, yet they go into something that's equally oppressing, but I don't believe that, they will find the answers there, because you're not going to find the answers anywhere. There's similar things in the sense that one lot of culture oppresses for one reason, another lot of culture oppresses for a difference, and by the time they come back, if they come back, it's kind of, that hatred is still there to some degree. I guess it's kind of finding where is the source of that, why are they feeling that way? Disconnected in a sense, because they must feel disconnected.
Because generally they're youth, and youth is just disconnected in itself. You're trying to learn, you're trying to grow up and become a person, whereas some people are just disconnected from society themselves, because some people just are.
Well, you can't just take away someone's citizenship like that unless they weren't born over here. Unless they don't, that's ridiculous. But these have some kind of rehabilitation. Is that the right word? Yeah, and some kind of what's that word? Not kind of de-brainwashing or just some kind of understanding. They have to definitely be monitored, because God knows what they're going to bring back. Have to some kind of go to a hospital or just check them out, and I'm sure if they do come back, they'll come back very disillusioned, hopefully. But they have to be watched. Yeah.
Okay, well, guys, we've come to the end of the show. That is the whole 40 minutes we've done there. But guys, you've been awesome again. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Disorderly Conduct. I was joined today by Newman.
Hello.
Daly.
Bye.
Darlene.
Goodbye.
My name's CJ Rock. Again, thank you to the Lazy Fox for providing us an environment to entertain, educate and inform you all. We'll be back again next week. You'll find us at www.thenewestablishment.co.uk. Email me at cj@thenewestablishment.co.uk, and that's a long email address, but if you search for it online, we'll be there. Just below the Vogue article on the New Establishment. That's us. Okay? So just find us there. Join us for next week. Leave your comments at the bottom of the page, retweet, share it, do whatever you need to, ladies and gents. But whatever you do, please have sex. Safe sex, but have sex. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Disorderly Conduct. Have a nice night.
Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.